Hello, it's Gaster Sand, and today I'm playing It Gets So Lonely Here. It's a Yuri visual novel. I'm not sure what it's about, but I know it's Yuri, of course. It's in the name, it's in the description. And just in case, oh wait, yeah. There are some trigger warnings in this game, and those are drowning, mentions of homophobia, bullying, and cannibalism. Yep, so if those trigger warnings, what am I trying to say? If those affect you, just click off the video, I guess. But without further ado, let's get into It Gets So Lonely Here. I really like the music. Okay. You are running through a forest. It is late at night and the sky is as black as pitch. There is nothing to light your ways. There is nothing to light your way save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you, not properly. The trees which surround you, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. You cannot see where you are going. Even if you had commenced your flight at a more sensible hour, however, with the light of the sun to aid you, it would be of little use. You do not know where you are going. You have no map, no route, no plan. You are running like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy, with no destination in mind. You have no desire as you run, save to escape. You cannot let yourself be caught. If that were to happen, you are certain that you would be ruined. You have no choice, therefore, but to keep going, on and on and on, though your feet are screaming at you for mercy. You have no idea how long you have been running. Time has begun to blend together, it has lost all meaning. Something sharp snags at the hem of your skirt, but you do not have the luxury to pause and examine what has happened. Instead, you tug. Your shirt tears, the sound splitting through the forest, and you stumble forwards with a shocked gasp. You are free, but at what cost? Your skirt has been damaged. It might be too late to worry about such trivial matters now, though. If you do not start running again, and soon, she will catch you, then your life will be over. You do not know if she is still following you, but you do not want to risk looking over your shoulder. If you were to see her, silhouetted beneath a tree, looking at you with that sickly sweet smile which once ensnared you, you would lose what little nerve you possess. The legs would lock up and your blood would freeze in your veins. Then you would crumple. You would fall. You would not hit the ground. She would be there to catch you. Did she not promise, when you made that contract, that you should never be alone? You would like to take back that silly wish of yours, but it is too late for that. It is too late for a lot of things. All you can do is run. You run and run and run, while the icy fog swirls about your feet. Just cold enough to sap the heat from your body, and you shudder from it. It feels as though you are drowning. It feels as though you are being buried alive. Your knees and your shins, meanwhile, are bleeding. You cannot endure much of this. But if you value your own life, you must. You run and you run and you run until, at long last, you reach a fork in the road. There are 3 paths which split off through the forest. Let's save. Well, 4 if you count the path down which you came. You cannot exactly double back on yourself, though, not when you have so much effort put into running forwards. You can only press on. The tree paths are signposted, which is something of a strange sight given you are so deep in the forest. Dark though it may be, you have grown accustomed to the shadows. You can just about pick out the writing on this old, dilapidated signpost, curved and slanted though it is. Your fate, if you will forgive me for sounding cliche, is in your hands. Now I wonder, which path will you take? Let's go to the shore. So you want to go to the shore? Good idea. What will you discover there, I wonder? This night is far from over, and there are many numbers of adventures still awaiting you. I hope that you've prepared yourself in advance, and I do hope, for your sake, that you have learned how to swim. I have a sneaking suspicion that this skill might come in handy. You follow the path which leads to the shore, supporting yourself on weary, aching limbs which feel ready to snap at the knee beneath the burden of your weight. You are little more than a wisp of a girl, but you have been running for so very long, and your feet are so very numb. You feel like a great lumbering thing. You need to lie down, and quickly. You only hope, as you continue to run, that you will find a means to escape your current predicament by the shore. You do not know what awaits you. You have visions of a harbor extending up to the horizon, cradling a fleet of white-sailed fishing vessels. Surely there will be a kindly fisherman who will be willing to take you far, far away on his boat, to a place where your pursuer will not be able to find you. You can imagine, too, the face of this kind fisherman, a face you have lifted from your fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. He will have thick, bushy eyebrows, and a dark brown beard streaked through with grey. He will look intimidating at a glance, but he will be fiercely protective of you, like a father. You do not know what fathers are supposed to be like. You are only imagining. It is your imagination, however, which grants you strength needed to keep going. You run to the shore. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally, you do it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time had begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares that lurk within it. It is still cold, though, and still foggy. It is still dark, too. The sun is yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or orb or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the cliffs, which plummets sharply downwards to an array of sharp, spiky rocks below. You felt, upon escaping the woods, a degree of hope, but the sight of these weather-blasted cliffs gives you pause. You inhale. Then you frown. Now what are you to do? You did not think of this plan yours through very well. Not that you had much in the way of a plan in the first place. There's little in the way of civilization here. The cliffs are far from the village. How far? You do not know. And you cannot see any houses. Where exactly? Will you rest your very head? One of your weary legs? Fitfully, you look around. There's nobody to your east, nor is there anybody to your west. There's no point in looking south. That is the way that you came. And when you look to the north, the world falls away from you. The cliffs are steep to scale, are too steep to scale, and it is too dark. Naturally, there is not a soul here to help you. You are on your own. You feel so overwhelmed, you could very well cry. You do not cry, however. You know what? You know that tears have never helped anyone. You got yourself into this mess. Now you need to get yourself out of it. It is with this thought in mind that you inhale a lungful of salty oceanic air. Then you begin your exploration in earnest. You keep away from the edge of the cliffs, afraid that you might slip and take a sudden unfortunate tumble into the abyss below. You are not as attached to your mortal body. You are not attached to your mortal body as some humans are, but you do not want to die. You still care for yourself, if only a little. And it is this sense of self-preservation which compels you onwards. You glance this way and that, depressing tall grass beneath your shoes, as you search for a place of shelter. Surely there must be somewhere. You cannot see any likely looking settlements, but what is that over yonder? Could that be a roof? You hurry onwards, hope budding anew in your heart, until, at long last, you reach your destination. There is a house after all, out here in the wilds, though it doesn't at a glance look very welcoming. The solitary house that you have discovered not so far from the cliffs is rather unremarkable. It is so small and squat. You cannot imagine it contains within it more than one floor. You cannot even imagine that it contains much more than one room. Though it is dark, it is not dark enough to mask that the cottage has something of a slant to it. It is leaning listlessly to one side like a drunken sailor. The thatched roof, meanwhile, which tops this dwelling, has certainly seen better days. There's a hole in the thatch. There are several holes, in fact, and parts of it look particularly bare, almost bald. That is rather concerning. Yeah, I really like the music. It's really good. Should it rain, you will not be properly protected from the elements. Can you really stay the night in such a place? You have some misgivings. But do your misgivings matter really, when there's nowhere else to go? It's not as though you have any other options. It is with a sense of defeat, therefore, that you approach the cottage, which sticks out of the earth like a tombstone. What if you once turn back? But you know that would be foolish. The windows of the cottage are dark, but that does not necessarily mean it's empty. It is rather late at night, after all. Whoever sleeps here, if indeed anybody does live here, might be asleep. You cannot imagine the owners of this cottage will appreciate being roused so very late at night. You cannot let yourself worry too much about these small details, however. Otherwise, you'll never get anywhere. You swallow. The taste of the salty sea breeze is pungent in the back of your nostrils. Then, you rap your knuckles of your right fist on the door. You rap quietly at first, but you do not hear any resultant shuffling inside the cottage. Perhaps you did not use enough strength. Emboldened, you rap your knuckles on the door for a second time, more loudly this time. You wait a few moments, but still, you cannot hear anything. Perhaps the cottage is unoccupied after all. You knock a third time, then wait. The third time is, as they say, the charm. The charm. The charm. The third time is, as they say, the charm. But for all that, your knocking goes unanswered. Well, nobody can say you did not try. More intrigued now than anxious, fingers find the handle of the door. You pull it downward, you put it down, and to your surprise, it yields easily. The door swings back for you, as if by magic. It feels almost as if this was preordained. You step foot inside the cottage, which is very dark, and glance around. It is hard to see, given the lateness of the hour, but the cottage interior is as inspiring as its exterior, which is to say, not very. It is every bit as small as cramped as you fancied when you observed it from outside. There are a few cupboards which line the walls, a wood fire which has since been extinguished, and a straw pallet on the floor which must function as a bed. Your search is unsuccessful, however. When it comes to trying to locate other humans, you cannot find another soul. Surely that is to your benefit, though. If nobody else lives here, then you might as well make it yourself. Then you might as well make yourself at home. Or as at home as one can be, I suppose, in a small, cramped cottage such as this, with holes in the roof. You close the door behind you, then approach the straw pallet. All of a sudden, you feel incredibly weary. The tiredness that assails your limbs is absolute, so intense it overcomes the last of your concerns. You settle down upon the straw pallet, yawning as you do. It is not comfortable, but being able to lie down eases some of your pain, your aches and pains. Lying down, even on an uncomfortable makeshift bed, such as this one, is better than standing. It is far, far better than running. Your eyelids fall shut, your lashes melting together. Soothed by the sounds of the wind and the distant rolling of the waves, you fall asleep. Then, you begin to dream. Let's save. Okay. It is not uncommon, of course, to dream. The best and the worst of us do it. The queens and their castles, and to peasants sleeping in the straw. Why? Who is to say all you have observed tonight has not, in a sense, been a dream of its own? Would that make your nighttime fancies then a dream inside of a dream? Perhaps our dreams are empty, floating stacked inside one another, like little wooden dolls. Is that not a whimsical thought? How very droll. Dreams, however, cannot be called whimsical, and neither are they particularly droll. They are not pure fabrications, as dreams sometimes are fleeting fancies which can never come to pass. Your dreams are of a rather more pernicious sort. In your dreams, you are at a quince of someplace, with your red hair tied back into two prim proper braids. You are walking through the courtyard, clutching your books to your chest as you make your way to the library. Your head is bowed so as to not look at the faces of your passing classmates. You do not want to meet their eyes. These girls, with the sensible braids and the sensible shoes, are merciless. You hunch your shoulders together in this dream of yours so as to not draw their attention, but alas, it is not enough. You stumble clumsily and you fall, and just like that, all eyes are upon you. They are staring at you. They are laughing at you. You lay down on the ground by the fountain, your books scattered and your skirt in a woeful state of disarray. Your knee hurts. Is it bleeding? You examine your injured leg, trying not to cry, and as this transpires, you hear a voice. One of your classmates is calling out to you. She has acknowledged you. You look up shyly, tears beating in your eyes, at a girl taller than you and prettier, much more refined. She extends her hand towards you. Does she mean to help you? It cannot hurt to try, can it? Hesitantly, you reach out to accept her offered aid. Her fingers curl around yours tightly, perhaps too tightly. Her nails dig into your skin. It hurts. Deftly, the girl pulls you to your feet. Your legs feel weak from your fall, and your knee is still aching, still bleeding. You stumble, feeling out of sorts, but you are not afforded much of an opportunity to gather your bearings. The girl's hands are on your shoulders. She's laughing at you. Then she's pushing you. The sound of the fountain and the running water which drums against its basin is all of a sudden very loud. It is overwhelming. It surrounds you, then it engulfs you. It is cold as ice. You cannot breathe. The rushing of the water continues, echoing in your eardrums, over and over, and then, no, you do not want to remember this. What good will it do? It is in the past, where the past ought to remain. You are never going back. You are never going to go back, not even in your dreams. It is this determination which forces you back into the world of the waking of a start. You gasp, like a fish as you sit upright, your eyes unnaturally wide. You feel worried from a lack of sleep, and with half-lidded eyes, you glance about. It is still dark inside your cottage, the sky visible from beyond the windows splash still with stars. How long were you asleep? You are not sure. Your dreams were so very detailed. It really did feel like you had been transported into a different time, into a different place. When you inhale, you can taste rank, fetid water in your mouth. Natively, you pat yourself down, your fingers trailing against the front of your uniform. So vivid was your dream, you half expect to find your clothes are damp. This is not the case, however. You are, in fact, perfectly dry. Well, now what are you to do? Will you go back to sleep? That sounds like the best option available to you. You are very tired, but your senses feel too overwrought, all of a sudden, for sleep. You do not think you could bear it. On unsteady legs, you rise to your feet, then stand by the window. Look out to the starry sky, and to the pitted moon which hangs amongst them, and you frown. You can hear the wind outdoors howling like an injured animal, and more softly, the ebb and flow of the waves as they meet the cliffs. But that is not all. What is that sound? Why, it's almost like singing. The voice is far away enough that you cannot pick up any individual words, nor even the individual syllables. But there is a haunting quality to it all. The singer, whoever they are, possesses quite the pretty voice, high and clear like a bell. The song is a melancholy, one which stirs your heart. Curiosity takes root inside of you, as it did during that fateful day you found that book in the library. Logically, you should not go outdoors to seek the source of that singing, but emotionally, that is another matter altogether. You really should have learned your lesson by now. You should know better than to go sticking your nose in the business which does not concern you. But naughty little girls such as you never do learn. You cross the old fisherman's cottage as though in a dream, then you reach for the handle of the door. The handle depresses easily enough beneath your grasping fingers, and the door opens with a click. The rest of the world yawns before you, framed in the doorway, all of it bathed in moonlight. You thought it was cold out inside the old cottage, but it is colder still now that the door is open. An unpleasant wind rushes forth to meet you, knifing mercilessly through the fabric of your uniform. You look across the cold, inhospitable landscape, your fingers clenched into fists at your sides. Then, you step outside into the unknown. You canvass the cliff face, led by nothing more than that luxurious singing. So haunting and ethereal is this voice as it hangs on the breeze. It would be enough to send 1,000 ships off to war. You keep walking into the night until you reach the very edge of the cliff, where you drop downwards into empty air. You ought to not go any further, but the voice has yet to cease. You can still hear it echoing inside your head. It compels you to act. You look down at the shore, which seems like a dizzying distance away, then out to the ocean, which is breaking against the scattered rocks below. Your eyes narrow with determination. Then, You take a step forward towards the cliff. These cliffs are steep and the rocks below are sharp. You can see them glinting in the darkness, the tips jagged like the teeth of hungry predators. The cold wind blows, rocking your hair, and you shudder from it. Your shoes were not built for scaling cliffs, and your heels do not have much in the way of purchase, particularly not when the cliffs are so steep. Clinging to the cliffs is no small feat, yet you are determined to ease yourself down onto the shore, in one piece, preferably. The wind is so powerful it feels as though there's something deliberately malicious to it. You wonder, during your descent, if it means to knock you off your perch on purpose, to cast you down to the rocks below. Well, if that is what it wants, then you refuse to give it the satisfaction. You can be awfully stubborn at times, and that was one of them. You continue to climb. How long has it been now? Until, at long last, your feet meet the shoreline below. You made it, and you did not sustain too many injuries. Your palms are throbbing, yes, after gripping those rocks, and you might have a few cuts, but your wounds are of a shallow and superficial sort. Things could have been worse. You flex your fingers, they feel uncomfortably numb and cold alongside it. Your skin is prickling, but at least you can feel discomfort. At least it is still attached to your bones where it ought to be. Your vital organs concealed within the hollow cavity of your body. You have a lot to be thankful for. This night has, by and large, been quite successful. There are no longer any obstacles between you and the mysterious voice which lulled you outdoors. Now you must find them. You set off down the shore on the hunt for the singing voice which has captivated you so. You sidestep sharp, jagged rocks which jut out of the sand like teeth. The rocks which cannot be circumnavigated. Meanwhile, you clamber over. All the while, the sound of the sea mingles with that of the singing. It provides an ethereal, haunting backdrop to your exploration, one which further adds to the surreality of your moonlight stroll. The waves lap against the shore, then recede shyly, pushed and pulled by the bleached white moon which hangs overhead. The oceans that you have seen in your library books were all blue and sapphires, but this ocean was different. It is so late at night, it looks black instead. The undulating surface of the water reminds you of a mirror, though its depths are even deeper and much more mysterious. A sense of foreboding settles upon you, but you try to squash it. You will not let yourself be afraid. You round a corner, your feet unsteady in the sensible brown shoes, and then, at long last, you see her. There's a woman sitting upon a rock, out in the ocean. The woman's eyes are closed and her lips are parted, her expression soulful. She is singing. Her hair, which is fair, flutters around her face like a shroud, which adds to her otherworldly aura. Her eyes might be closed, but her lashes are long and luxuriant like a doll's. Her lips, meanwhile, which are parted in song, are soft, like the fleshly plucked petals of a flower. Her face is perfect, as are her proportions. Her neck is tall and slender, like the stem of a flower. As for the lower body, as for the lower half of her body, meanwhile, well, it is nothing like anything you've seen before. It is here, and here alone, that the woman betrays the narrow human definitions of beauty, where her legs are non-existent. Rather than two awkward appendages, this woman has, instead, the sleek, shimmering tail of a fish. Is she not, then, a human? She cannot be, not with a tail like that. This unusual sight makes you gasp, and quite audibly at that. You do not mean to be rude, but you cannot help yourself. Humans tend to react poorly to things they do not understand. At least you do not scream. That would be even ruder. Oh my. You meant to observe the mermaid from a distance, but it would appear that your shocked gasp was loud enough to attract her attention. The fish-tailed vision sitting upon the rock is looking at you. The gaze is so piercing, feels almost as if she's looking through you. Your heart seems to stop inside your heart. Your heart seems to stop inside your chest, as if by some manner of magical spell. You thought the mermaid pretty when you first observed her, sitting on that outcrop of a rock, face turned in profile. Now she's looking at you, however. You can see that you were mistaken. She's not just pretty, she's beautiful. So much so, it is almost unnerving. She looks as though she has stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She's simply too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she's some kind of vision, a waking dream, hallucination. But no, she's none of those things. The tail might be an impossible thing, but its scales look slick and wet regardless, like those of any fishes one might find at the market. These scales are iridescent and bathed beneath the light of the moon. They almost seem to glow. The sight of her rather takes your breath away. You look at the mermaid. She looks back at you. You prepare yourself, expecting some sort of altercation. The surprise soon fades from the mermaid's face. Her lips, which once were pursed in a frown, now shift upwards. She's smiling. Then she says in a refined sort of voice, My. It really is good to see a human again, particularly a human girl. I was beginning to fear that your kind had all disappeared, and I would no longer have anybody left to tell me of the water birth, the waters. My, this is quite effusive rating. The mermaid's introductory speech is positively brimming with excitement of a sweet, girlish variety. I need some... Okay. She's rather more amicable than the fine polish of her syllables would make one suggest. You might be a well-bred lady yourself with an accent to match, but you cannot help but feel overwhelmed. Anxiously, you observe the mermaid, and you ask her what she means, what happened. As to that, I'm afraid I cannot say. I've been sitting on these rocks and singing for many nights, but nobody has come to see me. There have been no lovely humans for me to play with. I was beginning to wonder whether your kind had disappeared altogether, after some manner of calamity had occurred while I was slumbering beneath the water's surface, and your kind had been eradicated. You shudder, then you reassure the mermaid to the contrary. You do not know about the humans that she used to speak with, but you, at least, have not been eradicated. You are still here. Yes, well, I can see that. The mermaid answers with a light laugh. It really is a relief. My fellow mer-people who live beneath the waters told me not to worry so, but I could not help myself. I've always been fond of you humans. It was rather sobering sitting here night after night all on my own. It gets so lonely here. Now, that is an interesting turn of phrase. It catches inside of your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? So, dear human, Did you say that you are unfamiliar with these parts? Hesitantly, you examined the mermaid. Thoughtless though you might be, at times, you are not very self-centered that you cannot detect the note of longing in the mermaid's voice. It is evident as she looks at you that she is hoping for a particular answer to her query. This answer at last is not one that you can furnish her with. And you do not want to lie to her. It is after some hesitation, therefore, that you reaffirm your earlier words, though this time you embellish them. You tell the mermaid that you are a traveler from a far-off land, one which is very dissimilar to this one. It is not a complete fabrication. You tell her that you have only just arrived by the shore, and you are unfamiliar both with your immediate surroundings and those further ahead afield. If there is a village nearby, then you have not set foot in it. You do not know what this village is like, nor how many inhabitants it boasts. You do not know if a calamity, as the mermaid grimly supposed, has struck this land. But if she fears all the humans within the immediate vicinity have been laid low by some mysterious malady, then she needn't worry overly that score. You are still alive. Are you not, you wonder, enough to satiate her curiosity with the human realm? Yes, that is true, you are here. I am grateful, naturally, for your company, although, wistfully the mermaid sighs, was rather hoping you might be able to bring me some news of the nearby village and of its inhabitants. This makes you wonder, was there a particular person from this village who was close to? So, you were able to work out that much, the mermaid answers, with a small smile. You are an intelligent one, aren't you? Your past professors would beg to differ on that score. You were always awful. You were always awful when it came to academics, mathematics in particular. You could never get your head around all of those numbers. Your stern, stony-faced maths professor used to despair in you. But she's not here. None of them are here. It is just you, now, and the mermaid. And she does not need to know about your dismal academic record. Same. You allow yourself a small smile, touched by a compliment, and tell her that it is nothing more than a lucky guess. For a guess, it was remarkably accurate. You are quite right. I did have a close friend from a nearby village. She was very dear to me. Internally, you congratulate yourself on this piece of detective work. How very clever you are. There are many humans in this world. Of that, I know. The human who spoke of me, however, was special. She was my human. You do not fail to catch the possessive note in the mermaid's voice, and I cherished her dearly. She would come to me on my rock late at night when she was finished with her chores, and we would talk. I asked her a good number of questions about the human realm and about her customs. My endless inquiries must have been rather tedious, but she was always happy to indulge me. She never once scorned me for my ignorance, and neither did she make me feel like a fool. She always made time for me, no matter how many demands she had on her time. She was a farmer's daughter, and she was awfully busy from dawn until dusk, thrashing hay and taking the animals out to pasture. She told me of her work, and I marveled at her. Slender though she may be, she possessed a truly tremendous amount of strength. I, who have lived in the ocean all my life, cannot count turns working as hard as she did, but she bore her burdens without complaining. She was She was not the prettiest human who has walked the earth, but that mattered not to me. Her conversation was engaging, and I knew, through our continued encounters, that she meant no ill will. She did not have even a single drop of malice in her heart. The wistful manner in which the mermaid speaks of a friend makes you feel, for few brief moments, a flick of some ugly, primordial emotion. Could it be jealousy? It is painful, isn't it, to hear others wax poetic about those they hold dear, particularly when you yourself have never been regarded in so intimate a manner. You have for many years, been woefully alone. But you are not alone now. You are with a mermaid, and she's with you. And though she might prefer to be in the company of an industrious farmhand, the farmhand is not here. Where did she go? Oh, if only I knew. She quite simply disappeared one day, almost as if she had been whisked away by a wicked spirit. That seems like quite the anticlimactic ending for such a close relationship. Did the farmhand not tell her companion beforehand that she might one day disappear? No, she did not. Nothing of the sort happened. It was all very sudden. So, you ask, feeling affronted upon the mermaid's behalf. Did she not give you any warnings? Not a single one. And when, you ask, did she disappear? I do not know, in truth. Time is a strange concept to beings such as myself, particularly as it seems to ebb and flow differently both above and below the surface. You humans have a strange compulsion to pin down and to place labels upon everything. You have names for your seasons and for your months and even for your days of the week. It is all very precise. We merfolk, however, do not bother with such affairs, perhaps because we live for so much longer than humans do. We have no need to obsessively document our days, not when we have so many of them at our disposal. This curious remark catches your attention. How long exactly do mermaids live for? The mermaid does not look much older than you, but you cannot help but wonder. My, nosy are we? The mermaid asks as she laughs, a soft, tinkling sound, that like of a bell, which makes you blush. Were you being nosy? Perhaps you were. You always had a thirst for knowledge, not of the dry, dusty academic variety, but of stories peopled with strange persons. Literature was the only subject you were ever good at. Again, it is hard for me to quantify, but to put in terms of a human like you can understand. I suppose we mermaids can live for centuries. Centuries? That is quite the surprise. But perhaps it shouldn't be. You have been subjected to any number of surprises tonight. What is one more to add to your pile? I have not been waiting quite that long, however, for my friend to return to me. I think it has been but a few seasons. It might not sound like much, but never before have I been so aware of the passage of time. I've experienced any number of once during my life, but I have never wanted anything quite as badly as I want to see her. I wish she would sit with me, and she would talk to me just one more time. But perhaps I'm asking for an impossibility. I've been waiting for so long now. Presume that she will not be returning to me. I fear that something must have happened to her, or her family, or perhaps to her whole village. You can hear the worry throbbing in the mermaid's voice, so potent that, for a few moments, you swear you can feel the depths of her sorrow within your own breast. Her sadness over this human girl is a deep, dark thing, almost fathomless. You cannot let yourself indulge in it for too long, otherwise you fear you might drown in it. Ruefully, you tell the mermaid once more that you cannot help her. You are only a traveler after all. What do you know of a single insignificant farmhand in a nearby village? Yes, I thought you might say that. It is quite unfortunate, but oh well. I ought not to reflect upon all that I am missing. That would be churlish of me, and would not be fair to you either. You did not approach me, I'm sure, with the hope of hearing about all my woes. I should be grateful instead for all it is that I do have. I still have my long life which stretches before me like a golden cord, and of course, I have you now. Does she? Do I not? I ought to go soon, before my absence is noticed. But will you not come and visit me again tomorrow night? I think I would like that. I've always enjoyed speaking to humans. You make me feel less alone. You cannot help but feel, as the mermaid observes you with those enchanting eyes of hers, that she does not truly wish to speak to you for your sake. She wants to use you, instead, as a substitute for the farmhand that she has been missing so very ardently. The thought stings, though you really ought to be used to it. Still, to be held in lower esteem than a farmhand, of all things, it makes your self-esteem sting. You try not to let the mermaid notice this though. The woes of your past are not her fault, much as the woes of her past are not yours. It is silly, in any case, to be jealous of a girl who might very well be dead. That is what you tell yourself. It is the only way to prop up your bruised sense of self-worth. You tell the mermaid, after a pause, like to see her again. You would like that very much. Oh, thank you. I've been feeling very gloomy for quite some time, but seeing you has invigorated me. Finally, it feels as though I can smile again. Did she not smile, do you wonder, after a friend disappeared? I did not know. I did not have the heart. Without her, the world seemed very dull and drab. Your company has cheered me immensely. This is why I like humans so much. You are not as callous and unfeeling like the merfolk who live beneath the water's surface. You are much kinder than they are. Oh, if only she knew. If the mermaid was aware, I wonder, of how petty you are and how jealous, would she still care for you? Well, that is neither here nor there. You agree to meet with the mermaid come sundown the following night. Then you make your slow, stumbling way back up the cliffs. Then to your cottage you have purloined as your own. Once indoors, you settle down upon your pallet, and then you close your eyes. The sighing of the wind outside, the distant rolling of the waves against the rocks do not disturb you. You feel, after your midnight encounter of a Moorish kind, quite at ease, perhaps prematurely so. What happened to the icy fear which prompted your frantic flight through the forest? Where has that all gone? Do you not think you are being a bit complacent? No? Oh well, you will.